Now, today marks 67 years since over 20,000 women marched to the union buildings in protest against the extension of past laws. Today, they'll be remembered on the same lawns they marched to in 1956, celebrated under the theme Women's Socio-Economic Rights and Empowerment, Building Back Better for Women's Improved Resilience. President Cyril Ramaphosa is expected to give a keynote address. Let's cross now to our reporter Pule Letshwiti-Jones. A very good morning, Pule. What's the latest that you can share with us from where you are?
Well, William, the official program is yet to get underway, but just to get more details around when we'll be starting, I'm joined by the Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, Zizi Kodwa. Thank you very much for joining us, Minister. Just the latest developments around when we will start. Obviously, the event was moved from Cape Town to Johannesburg due to security risk, the President being there as well. When are we set to begin?
It's quite unfortunate and regrettable that we had to move this event from Cape Town, because there are many patriotic heroines, warriors, originally from the Western Cape, that needs to be celebrated. So we decided to take the event to Western Cape to celebrate some of the great women that come from that town, from that province, for that part of the country. Unfortunately, we have to consider mainly the safety of people who are expected to come to the rally, that we cannot guarantee their safety whilst these issues are underway of a taxi stay away. So we took a decision, first and foremost, to protect and avoid any confrontation between people who are expected to come to the rally in Khayelitsha and the police. It's unfortunate what is happening in Cape Town. I think we want to thank Gauteng for having organized this event, which they organize annually. We have now rebranded it to be a national event because the main speaker is the President. So it will take the form of a national event. Should be starting around 11 or past 11. As we can hear, in the morning the program started with a walk from Semi-Max, and that work is still coming here with a number of led by some of the prominent women, some of them in the liberation, in the history of women's struggle, as well as some of them in leadership in the country now.
Of course, when you speak about women's struggles as well, we continue to see some of the issues challenging women, such as around 10,000 women who, of course, have reported cases of rape from the beginning of this month, 900 of them being killed as well. This, of course, speaks to some of the issues of does the state do they still have the will and capacity to fight gender-based violence in this country?
The fight against gender-based violence and femicide is a responsibility of everyone. It's a responsibility of the state, the government, stakeholders, as well as civil society in general. That's why in the past years we're talking about establishment of community police forums and also to strengthen them and other relevant community forums. Because some of the perpetrators is people who are known in communities. But communities sometimes, they keep that information to themselves. We must make sure that we beef up the capacity of the state police stations so that a young guy, a young girl as well as a young woman, they can walk free in the streets in the evening or in the morning. Part of the celebrations here must be to create awareness and make a call to society, not only to women, that indeed it's a responsibility of all of us, men and women, to fight against the scourge of gender-based violence.
I mean, you're the Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture. We've seen recently the standoff between Banyana team and, of course, SAFA as well. When you speak about gender equality, these again some of the issues in the sporting industry and the sporting code as well, where it seems as though there's more preference within the men team than the female team as well. Are these part and parcel of the issues that you're looking into as government to say there should be gender equality, everyone should be treated fairly? In fact, Banyana did quite well at the World Cup as well, and they continue to impress the nation.
I got a bit disappointed when I went to join Banyana in New Zealand. Because when I left, I had an impression that it's only South Africa that had some disputes and issues at the doorstep of their departure. When I arrived in New Zealand, only to discover that many other very prominent countries, well developed, having participated in the tournament for the longest time. You had, for example, England, you had Nigeria, and many other countries. But it does not justify what happened back home. I think what happened back home is a function or a lack of function of leadership. Because such issues, you must anticipate them. You can't at the doorstep of a departure of a conference still talk about contractual dispute with players, with coaching staff and so on. It's quite unfortunate. And my call is that we don't want to see a repeat of that. And in spite of what happened, Banyana, they are like roses that grew from the concrete. In spite of the challenges and the difficulties, they rose up to the occasion. And indeed, they inspired the nation. And we're quite happy about their performance. Tomorrow afternoon, I'll welcome in person at the airport, because I think they deserve a continual support from government. But the question is, what happened next?
Yeah.
What happened next? We must have a professional league, both for Spar Proteas in terms of the netball as well as women's football, and that can be done with a committed leadership. It means we need a corporate sector that must come. If it means crowdfund corporate sector to make sure that we realize that our participation was almost par to the countries that have got professional league. And that says something about our capacity and the capability, both from the Spars Protea as well as Banyana. But we're grateful that both teams fought bravely to be where they are.
But you admit that, of course, this is something that should be looked into, particularly in SAFA as well, in these male-dominated spaces as well, where, you know, the executives who are males make these decisions which have a bearing on this female sporting code as well.
I cannot deny the fact that both in corporate sector as well as we will find the same case at the Authority of Sport, which is SAFA, patriarchy, the attitude. And if you can't deal with that, it's going to take a little bit of time. Because even corporate sector, if they still feel that it's only men's sport that must be supported, there's something wrong that we must do. Because women had to prove themselves, both in Cape Town and netball, as well as in New Zealand, that indeed we too, we can lift up the spirit of the country. And this was a year of women in sport. They've proven, beyond reasonable doubt, that we can do better than men.
Just lastly, what time are we expecting number one to be here?
President is expected there to be around 11.
Okay, thank you very much. Of course, that's the Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, Zizi Kodwa, just giving us a brief update regarding what time the President is expected to, officially give the keynote address at this program. But most importantly, speaking about some of the challenges that continue to persist within the sporting code, and of course at usual occasions, disadvantaging women as well, such as what we saw, that example between Banyana and SAFA as well, that standoff over the contractual obligations. But we'll continue to give you that rolling coverage here from Tshwane as the program unfolds.
That's our reporter on the ground for us at the Union Buildings, Pule Letshwiti-Jones. Thank you so much for that interesting chat as well with Zizi Kodwa. Of course, we are expecting the President to give a keynote address a little later in the day. This is